You are 87% through generating a feature with Claude Code when an HTTP 429 rate limit halts your work. Welcome to the Freshers, where we break down open source infrastructure tools shaping software engineering. Hitting a provider quota forces you to stop and switch to an entirely different provider. A rate limit is a strict ceiling on how many text tokens your app can send every single minute. Without traffic management, your active coding session dies instantly. Think of a central dispatch hub where individual carrier desks lock their chutes when daily package limits hit. Every provider requires custom API headers, unique web addresses, and separate client software libraries. Handling these fragmented endpoints individually makes modern developer pipelines fragile and costly. To fix these constant disruptions, developers are placing an AI gateway between their applications and model providers. An AI gateway is a local software proxy that receives all incoming prompts and routes them automatically. It exists because manual API integration creates fragile code and locks developers into single providers. Inside our central dispatch hub, think of this gateway as a unified intake desk at the front gate. Instead of visiting 20 separate carrier desks, every parcel drops off at one central station. OmniRoute runs locally on port 20128 to intercept requests from tools like Cursor or Claude Code. It buffers connections and isolates your codebase from external server outages. But how can a single local gateway cut your prompt token bill by 95% without changing models? Direct multi-provider integrations create fragile custom setups, but standardizing on a single /v1 endpoint makes provider switching instant. An OpenAI compatible endpoint is a uniform message interface matching OpenAI's standard web API request design. It exists because individual AI vendors format JSON parameters differently, forcing developers to rewrite client code constantly. At our central dispatch intake desk, this acts like a universal translation counter for incoming packages. Your app sends one standardized payload, and OmniRoute translates the request for Anthropic, Gemini, or DeepSeek behind the scenes. You swap backend AI models by updating a single configuration line in your application file. Your core codebase remains completely untouched throughout the entire transition. Standardized routing lets AI startups test hundreds of new models without modifying custom client libraries. Standardized endpoints make swapping simple, but sudden API quota crashes will still break live production tools. Quota-aware auto fallback chains are automated failover paths that redirect requests to backup providers when primary connections fail. OmniRoute organizes models into a 4-tier hierarchy spanning subscriptions, paid keys, low-cost models, and free endpoints. In our dispatch hub, think of backup chutes opening automatically the moment a primary delivery gate locks. When a primary Claude key returns an HTTP 429 error, OmniRoute reroutes the prompt in 8 milliseconds. Traffic shifts instantly to DeepSeek or alternative providers hosting identical model capabilities. Your coding session continues generating code with zero downtime and no manual key swapping. Automated failover protects multi-file agent workflows from sudden vendor outages. Automatic failover solves crashes, but verbose context windows still blow up API bills unless prompt payloads are compressed. Tokens are basic text units processed by language models. Coding agents repeatedly resend massive terminal logs and linter results, wasting up to 90% redundant tokens. To stop this waste, OmniRoute deploys a stacked compression pipeline combining RTK and Caveman filters. Picture a cargo press in our dispatch hub, flattening bulky packing materials before parcels enter shipping chutes. RTK deduplicates repetitive CLI outputs, while Caveman strips conversational fluff without weakening core instructions. A 50,000 token debugging context shrinks down to 5,000 tokens. Sliding this structural clutter slashes your monthly API token bills by 15 to 95% on tool-heavy coding sessions. Saving money on tokens is fantastic, but managing custom settings across multiple developer tools remains a major headache. A unified coding agent gateway hub provides a central connection point for all local developer tools and IDE extensions. It exists because configuring separate API keys across 16 coding applications creates exhausting maintenance overhead. Imagine expanding our central dispatch hub with dedicated loading bays for 16 separate courier fleets. Every assistant, including Claude Code, Cursor, Cline, and GitHub Copilot, connects directly to port 20128. You set your local base URL once instead of hunting through dozens of hidden settings screens. Tool switching becomes effortless across your workspace. Centralized local port binding guarantees all developer tools inherit identical routing rules and cost optimizations. Agent integrations simplify tool setup, but production systems need zero-cost testing and hardened safety gates before deploying to users. Earlier, we showed how fallback chains reroute traffic across provider tiers during unexpected rate limit outages. Free tier pool aggregation combines small allowances from 90 providers into one continuous resource stream. Circuit breakers are automated switches that halt traffic to failing endpoints when latency spikes repeatedly. You get zero-cost access without credit cards. Think of public storage bays in our dispatch hub, protected by heavy safety gates on main chutes. OmniRoute pools 1.5 billion free monthly tokens, while circuit breakers isolate failing servers automatically. Over 25,000 automated tests ensure this reliability framework never crashes. While OmniRoute offers powerful infrastructure, understanding whether your project actually needs an AI gateway saves unnecessary setup. It is built specifically for AI engineers, agent developers, SaaS startups, and open source builders experimenting across multiple models. If you build complex AI workflows or coding tools that rely on continuous multi-model execution, a local gateway is indispensable. In our dispatch hub, think of this as determining whether your operation needs a full central terminal or just a single mailbox. On the flip side, if you only use ChatGPT occasionally or build simple apps that never switch providers, OmniRoute is total overkill. Single model applications running light traffic do not suffer from rate limit walls or multi-agent context bloat. But the moment you deploy autonomous agents or manage multiple API keys, gateway abstraction becomes essential. Matching your infrastructure directly to your operational scale prevents over-engineering simple projects. Earlier, we saw how quota-aware fallback chains prevent mid-generation agent crashes by switching provider tiers in milliseconds. The evaluation and cooldown-aware retry framework continuously measures provider latency while managing temporary rest timers for rate-limited endpoints. In our dispatch hub, think of scoreboards tracking carrier speed while resting tired drivers on side benches. It prevents infinite retry loops by placing recovering endpoints into cooldown buckets before retesting connection health. As AI models fragment across hundreds of vendors, local gateways are becoming mandatory developer infrastructure. You can install OmniRoute locally using NPM or Docker on port 20128 right now. If you build AI products or coding agents, OmniRoute is definitely worth testing. Check out the link in the description below and let me know your thoughts.